Yo, people, what's going on? We're back again. Footy talk. Last one of the year, fam. Boy, what a difference a few weeks make, blood. You know,
Trust me.
Hey, bruv, Matisse was talking that crud, bruv.
Look at this
Mason Mount.
What's this
Bro.
backdrop? What's this backdrop? What's going on here? Look
Bro,
at this.
I swear, like 3 weeks ago, he was the man. He was the man, you know. Man like Frank was the man, and now he's on fraud watch, blood. Man like Mike Ross, blood, the fraud. It's peak, fam. What are you saying?
What you mean? What you man been up to?
I don't know. I've been watching your team stutter, blood.
My team won some football matches. I'm calm today, boy. I'm just taking it as it goes, fam.
Both of our teams got back-to-back W's and that. Bruv.
Beat
Your
two pop
team's
sides.
Stuttering, cuz.
What? It's a sticky one still.
No, what are you saying, though? What
I
you
like
saying?
talk out the thing with Tees, man.
Man said they got a defensive coaching. What's he been doing, lad? This man been on furlough, cuz.
Just want to know what got for Mason Mount as well, bro.
The defensive coach come in, definitely made a difference. But then the last couple of weeks, it's just everything's gone out the window footballing wise. I don't know what's going on. Just been mad poor performances. Like again, the performance against Arsenal was a joke, to be honest. I think for me that was our worst performance of the season. And then and definitely probably the worst performance under Lampard. And then again the draw against Aston Villa is not good enough either. So they're in a slump, and I'm hoping is that they're just in bad form, because obviously we've all seen good teams in bad form before. But what's concerning me the most is that the performances are really bad as well. There's not too much positive things to shed from the performances. You know, not going forward, not defensively. Mendy's looking more and more ropey every game. The defense in front of him is looking mad ropey as well, which is mad because again these are very reliable guys at the back that we've got for the start of the season so far.
What going for Mendy though, blood? I thought he was the Black Spider-Man. Man like Miles Morales.
Them keepers there.
I don't want to
say
like
it.
Miles, blood.
Them icy free keepers are beaky, boy. I told man about the icy free keepers.
What happened? Man like Miles Morales, bruv. What
We
happened?
got some bus driver in goal, bro.
You brothers are on it today. Look at you.
I got energy for you, Matisse, man. I can't lie. I got energy, man. It's a fuck Chelsea thing till I die. I can't lie. We might, like someone in the comments said, we might be 15th, but at the end of the day, yeah, I'm still gonna chat what I need to chat.
Facts.
Do you know
how
what
it really is.
You know what it is with Mendy? I'm honestly not worried about Mendy because he's got all the fundamentals of a good goalkeeper. He like before we got him, we didn't know who he was, so I wasn't expecting him to be world class and to be like, you know, one of the best goalkeepers in Europe. But for me, fundamentally, he's just improved us as a goalkeeper. Yeah, he's going for a tough time, 100%. Needs to improve. Just there's been a couple goals at near post, and then obviously coming out from the back, he's made some rash challenges. But his fundamentals as a goalkeeper, his the way that his saving technique, the way that he comes out for crosses, and commands his area, still shows leadership. So I'm not worried. Again, because the whole team's going through bad form, I'm not really worried about an individual like Mendy, who for me has already shown that he's got the mentality to be here just through what he's gone through in his career. So I would actually say I'm more alarmed at other players more than Mendy, even though Mendy's not in good form. I say other players are more concerning me, to be honest.
I hear that, bro. Like, what? Who's your main concern then, blood? It's got to be Timo.
Yeah, it's got to be Timo, man. It's got to be Timo because
Can't even bag against Arsenal, but you can't end your goal scoring out against us.
I said to you, he wasn't bagging. I said it to you.
I thought he was gonna score, but I'll take it.
Yeah, man. A lot of people said, "Oh, give him Arsenal and he'll get the goal." And for me, I wasn't really on it. I was saying we should just bench him and play the two wingers, Pulisic and Hudson-Odoi. He's in really bad form, man. And like I said, for me. A lot of people talk about moving him into a different position. For me, it's not about the position. It's the fact that, he's not doing the fundamentals and the basics. He's not, his first touch is not on point. His finishing is not on point. Like you speak about a striker playing out of position, but when they're in their own, you don't stay in the whole position all game. When you get into finishing opportunities, he's not taking the chances, right? He's missing them. So that's not got nothing to do with position. That's just down to the finishing being poor. When we look at his position, yeah, 100%.
Shout out, Matt.
His dribbling, His dribbling is not on point at the moment. His build-up play, but these things he never had. You look at Timo Werner. You never said to yourself he's a dribbler. It's like Fernando Torres. He uses his pace to get past players.
Yeah, Torres was another one. Torres' touch was stinky, but he used to get away with it because man had pace. As soon as his pace diminished, Torres turned into a scrub overnight, bro.
But because his finishing was on point in his prime, it wasn't a problem. Right now, Timo Werner's finishing is not on point. For me, he's lacking confidence. He might improve slightly going up front, but there's still issues in his game that worry me as a lone forward. The fact that he's not very good at heading the ball. The fact that, again, his first touch is not there. As modern day striker, you'd want to be able to link up, play and do those things as well. That hasn't been looking good for him. And also the fact that we don't service him properly. We don't use him in the areas that he's strongest in. You look at his average position for Leipzig, it's a lot higher up the pitch than it is for Chelsea. Chelsea is playing in deeper positions. He's being forced to do too much in build-up, and he's not actually on the last shoulder making the runs behind the defence. So I'm not really surprised he's not playing well, because for me, partly it's him not doing the basics, partly it's Frank Lampard not using him, for me, how he should be used. And Lampard's come out in public and said, I mean, Frank Lampard's come out in public and said it's not a problem, you know, he can play on the wing. I think he can play on the left wing. I think Aubameyang's playing on the wing, but it's about how you use them on the wing. If you play them on the wing to be chance creation and to be creative winger that's going to be deep and start having to do mad stuff, then it's dead. But if you use Aubameyang on the last shoulder out wide, running inwards like Wilcock for Arsenal, then you get something. You see what I'm saying? So that's what's really annoying me, because even though I'm seeing Werner on the left wing, I don't have a problem with that, because I know he can be in those zones. But from game to game, I'm not seeing any tactical change on how you're using him to qualify that he should stay in the team. That's why I would just call for you to just drop him, because I was just saying, just drop the player, because I'm not seeing any changes in his game. So, like, if you keep trying the same thing over and over again, you don't get any improvements, right? So why keep going on and on with this when you've got Hudson-Odoi, who I think a lot of people rate as a very creative winger. It's his natural position to play out wide. And I thought against Aston Villa, although we didn't win the game, he was quite good. You know, set up a couple chances. So
I think he was good against us as well when he came on, to be fair with you. He was still hot and cold, but he looked like to be the one player to do something. And if I remember correctly, it's a long ball from Mason Mount to Hudson-Odoi, and then that eventually led to Tammy's goal. I think, you're right, man. Yeah. Callum has to get a look in as an outsider looking at it.
Yeah, 100%. But for me, the one thing I've been frustrated with most with Frank is that I don't feel the ballpark for... I don't feel like the consistency for Callum is there in terms of game time and playing him on merit. You know, there's been times where he's got a goal against Rennes and then he's dropped out of the whole squad for the following game. And you don't see that with other players. And like I said, I'm not someone to try and, you know, again, other people maybe want to keep thinking of reasons as to why that would happen. But for me, I can't legislate for it, because I was told that this guy plays people on merit.
I just think he doesn't fancy him, bro.
You don't rate him, I
don't know.
You don't fancy him, innit? And you know what? When I look at Lampard, he looks like a manager that don't really like flair in general. You know them, man. You don't really like it. You know, like that. So
1-2s and that.
Yeah, you don't like flair, bro. You don't like players that think for themselves and do stuff off the cuff, bro. Like he doesn't look like the kind of manager that likes that. That's what I get from him, and even from what I get from how he speaks, innit, like about the game and that. I feel like he just likes them basic bread and butter footballers, innit. That's why I'm surprised that I wouldn't be surprised if Ziyech wasn't even his signing. You know them, man, because he's not a Lampard type player, bro. Like Lampard will like your Mount. Do you know what I mean? Even your Havertz.
But even if he does like your Mounts and whatnot, you still need variety in the team. You still need someone.
But some managers don't like that, bro. Do you know what I mean? And I can see
old habits die hard.
Yeah, and I can see Callum ending up leaving, bro, because it's like, for me, Werner's done enough for any good manager to say, you know what, lad,
hold the bench.
Like, I mean, like, you know what I mean? Your confidence is low right now. Sit it out, because it's not like at my club, Tony's confidence is low. He's not scoring as many goals, but he's still contributing. Man are getting 2 assists and winning a penalty in a game and that. You know them ones there, so he's still contributing. Werner can't even control a football right now.
It is bleak for him. Like, he has got a couple assists to his name, but if you're watching his game, general play, it's been poor, man. It's poor. Do you know what I mean? It's mad poor. So again, my thing with Frank, and I've said this for England as well, you need players that can unlock the door. How many times have we spoke about Grealish with England and Foden with England? You need these type of players. You can't just have, you know, whether he doesn't like them or not, you're at Chelsea, a top club. You need someone to unlock the door. And for me, how many times am I seeing, you know, for us recently, where we're not being able to unlock the door and you know, the only real way we're getting it out is through the crossing. Now, I don't mind crossing because I've seen Liverpool do it to a success, but then we don't get the ball, the numbers in the box to take advantage. You need to get numbers into the box. It's a numbers game. If you're getting the ball into the box and you've got 2-man challenging against 5, then you're probably going to lose. Do you know what I mean? Unless the ball is inch perfect, any knockdowns, you're not getting them. That's my other issue. And on top of that, you know, I think 34 crosses against Arsenal. I don't know if that's a record high, but it sounds like a lot. I know we've definitely put in the most crosses in the league, and Giroud doesn't come on for any minutes.
But this is what I'm saying. How do you put in all of them crosses and your best player in at the front post, is on the bench? He brought on Kai Havertz, if I remember correctly, instead of Giroud, bro. Like,
Desperation,
when you're trying to win a game, bro. That doesn't even make sense. That tells me my manager's head's fried if he does that.
He's desperate. He's desperate. What I saw against us was desperateness. You don't do them things. It's like Arteta a few games ago when he's doing the crossing thing. You only do that when you've spent all night trying to find answers and you can't find it. You know, I hear what you lot are saying about Lampard, but as an outsider looking, I'm not defending Lampard. I don't give a crap about Lampard. But Chelsea against us, I have to get onto them players. Like, them players can't get away with it. Like the Villa thing is different, but you lot are when I thought, you know, Chelsea movement, 5-yard passes, all of these sort of things. You're struggling to make 5-yard passes. There's not really any movement. I feel your wingers, because I watched the game again, even Pulisic, I think he was quite good. The penalty comes because you're not tracking your runners. If you look at it, Werner switches over to Reece James's side, and he's not tracking any runners. So then obviously Tierney's a free man. He's got a bit of a run on Reece James, and that's a penalty. So it's the manager's tactics. He's played them, man, and he's done what he's needed to do. But I think your players I think they're starting to down tools. What I saw was a team that looks like they're not on it anymore, based on that 90 minutes.
Yeah, I can understand why you'd see that, because for me, like I said, it was our worst performance under Frank. You know, for me, there was so many decisions that I have to question. You know, starting the 2 fullbacks coming back from injury, kind of rushed them back. Both of them didn't play well, especially Reece James for giving away the penalty. He was nowhere near his normal self. When you've usually got Azpilicueta that can come in and do a job, experienced fullback, you know, you can rely on him. And for me, it's just, like I said, even Kai Havertz, I don't have a problem with Kai Havertz coming on if you're crossing, because I feel like that's another player that you can put in the box. But Giroud is the first one you put in the box, and then Kai, because Giroud's actually got a track record. Do you know what I mean? He's an experienced player of doing it, whether it's low crosses, controlling the volley, near post, like Rants said there, with the flick, or the head. I think Kai is the person that should be bursting into the box on the edge of the area, should be in the box as well. He's very tall frame, got a few goals for Leverkusen as well with his head. And he's got that knack of getting goals in the box as well. But again, Kai, I worry because, you know, like I said, Werner, I don't feel like you're not using him correctly. As much as I'll criticize Werner for not doing the basics, not using him correctly. Kai, I'm seeing his average position very deep as well. He's not in the box. He's not getting into the box for these crosses. I don't see him on the edge of the penalty area for the crosses.
He's playing him everywhere, man.
Yeah, Kai's very deep. I feel like Kai's being used for build-up. I was hoping Mount would be the one that's deep.
Probably going searching for the ball. You don't understand what the hell is going on here. That's as an Arsenal fan, I see that all the time with my players. Like even in the first half against Brighton, you're seeing Martinelli narrow, Smith Rowe trying to get in and about everywhere. Saka, which is my pet peeve, even with Pepe, as crap as Pepe's been. I hate when my wingers have to receive the ball on the halfway line, because when they turn, they're just bare alleyways, just bare sort of players. And I saw a lot of that against us as well, and actually against Villa. You love hit a blip clearly. How you get out of that, I don't know. It's a bit different because the jury's still out for Arteta, but you know, Lampard's bought all of these players now, and you don't see anything. You know, you're scoring a lot of goals and whatnot, but I don't know what Chelsea are trying to do. I don't know what you lot's system is. I don't know what you lot stand for under Frank Lampard.
Yeah. I mean, that's my biggest criticism of Chelsea. I look at them, and as much as I don't enjoy the brand of football that my team are playing, I know that we're a counter-attacking team. I know that we never have sustained pressure in football matches. I know that we don't try and keep possession. Do you know what I mean? I know we're a high-risk football team, innit? At least I know what we are, bro. When I look at Chelsea, sometimes they look like they want to do this possession thing. Sometimes they want to do a counter-attack thing. Sometimes they're a crossing team. Sometimes they're not. Bro, I just don't know what's going on, bro. You know what I mean? And this brother said, do I think that Werner's underperforming? Bro, before Werner came and he was scoring bare goals and Chelsea fans were going on that they signed Kylian Mbappe, blood, because of the season he had, I said, bro, he just looks like a German Rashford to me, blood. You give this brother space in behind, he's a pace merchant, bro. Like in the Bundesliga, them defensive lines on the halfway line, blood. If you got a bit of pace, you're lovely. bruv, you're eating Gucci, bruv, every week, fam. You know, like that. Them defenders ain't got no pace. Highline thing, bro. I'm seeing Bear Man go smoke that league, fam. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, stylistically, it's perfect for him. The difference between Rashford and Werner is that Werner can't even dribble, it looks like. You know them ones there? Like, it's a mad thing. Like, he's literally a pace merchant, bro. Do you know
I didn't think it was that bad. I can't lie.
Like, he's giving me Walcott vibes, blood. You know
he just seems overwrought. Do you know what it is for Werner? For me, it's the mentality. Like when I hear him talk, he's like, "Oh, I didn't expect the Prem to be this hard. The defenders, this and that." You know, he's probably overruled. He's probably like, man, tell you how difficult the Prem is, but until you're in it, it's probably difficult. I think he's got a lot of pressure. I think, you know, Klopp's probably laughing because it looked like he was going there. I said, funny enough, I still think Werner can come good, but I don't know why. There's no evidence to support that. I just think he's a good player, but at the same time, he looks like a confidence man, and you always worry because I hate it at my club when every player's a confidence man, but it's the levels. It seems like with every good game, he can believe in himself. With every bad game, he really doubts himself, and that's never good. I don't think Werner has a balanced head. That's why I agree with what Matisse is saying.
You need some stubborn, arrogant players to be at the top level. Them man have got to have the undying belief that they're top players, even if they're not playing well. You know,
Pepe, he don't believe in himself as crap as he is.
He doesn't, but that's why Pepe is struggling at Arsenal, bro. Because you can see, even when he scores, man's got his head down, hands in his sleeves, and that. Man don't really have the arrogance here that it takes to, you know what, we're 1-0 down, give me the ball. He don't look like one of them players that wants the ball. Man like that just hide on the pitch, bro.
Just down tools and just woe is me and just go through the motions.
It's mad, bro. Do you know what I mean? And when I look at this Chelsea team, who is from what apart from Thiago Silva, who's just come, who are you looking at in your team to galvanize these players, bruv? Honestly,
I mean, for me, if you look at Pulisic, for me as well, as a player that can not he'll speak with his feet. Do you know what I mean? Because that's a guy that for me had ridiculous influence at the end of last season after lockdown at left wing. And that's why I've been so disappointed and annoyed that we don't use him at left wing this season to again try and get the best out of him, because for me he's our best attacker. So why shift him out to the right hand side to vacate for Werner for me when he can play on either wing and still put in the same performance? Potentially even do, you know, for me it doesn't really matter what wing he's going to play if you're not going to use, if you're not going to, like I said, use him to his strengths. So why not just move him to the right wing and put Pulisic on the left? People will say that there's defensive reasons for that. You know, depends what fullback you have on what side and all that kind of stuff. But you're jeopardizing the attack. Do you know what I mean? So it really is. It's a give and take situation of what you think is more important and what do you think is jeopardizing the team more. For me, we're still defensively suspect anyway. You just jeopardize the attack on top of that. So you just made two things. You just killed two birds with one stone, in my opinion. So it's long, man. I think in terms of the way Chelsea play, I know what they're trying to do. You know, they are trying to be a high intensity pressing side. I think to do that in this situation of the disease gone round with the congestion of fixtures potentially is a bad move. You know, you're going to burn players out faster. You've got games every few days. So this is probably the one time that you really can't afford to do a high press intensity side week on, week out, which is potentially what we may have gone wrong in as well. I know how hard Frank Lampard likes to train his players and he wants to put in the hard yards. But again, you know, we have to look at recovery. We have to look at players again. It's a lot of games, man, in a very short space of time. We just played 2 games in 48 hours, it seems. Do you know what I mean? In 3 days.
What about your formation? Because this brother's saying, why don't you play with a 10? It's mad. The amount of attacking, you've got 10s in your team, bro.
We tried to play the 4-2-3-1 before, but it didn't really work. Do you know what I mean? I think the balance of the pivot didn't work. We couldn't find a pivot that worked. We kept putting different players together. We put Kante next to Kovacic. We put Jorginho next to Kante. We put Jorginho next to Kovacic. All of the pivots don't work. And for me, if I'm looking at that team and I look at our old pivots, we had Kante, Matic. We had Fabregas, Matic. We don't have a Matic type player or Fabregas type player in this squad. So right now, I think even Man United could probably make a better pivot out of their team than we can. I don't see any pivot combinations. That's the problem. Gilmour is coming back. Yeah. Gilmour's coming back, but again, I don't think he has he has everything that I'm looking for to say that he's going to. It's a lot of pressure as well. Do you know what I mean? To say that he's going to start every game to be in a pivot. So I don't see any pivot combinations, which is a huge problem for us in transition when we're defending. You know, leaving space in between the lines. We've got better at that this season. We've been able to defend a lot better. I know recent weeks have been poor, but on average, we've been better defensively. We've been better on a situation of defending set pieces, attacking set pieces as well. And in terms of the way they're trying to play, you know, when we was going for a good run, it was a 4-3-3, but they was making good runs with the third man on the right-hand side. Kovacic was being used as a guy who runs off the ball and makes those runs to allow the space for Ziyech to tuck in. This team, without Ziyech, they seem to be clueless. Now, for me, that's where Callum Hudson-Odoi comes in. I know he's not the same type of player, but he can create things. He can switch play. He can go 1v1. He can cross. So for me, we're not seeing what we could get with Hudson-Odoi on that right wing to replace Ziyech. Instead, we're going with Werner on the left wing. And the only reason why Werner was really taken out of the team against Villa is because we had 2 games in 3 days. I don't know if that's long term. So we have to see what happens.
And is it too early to be calling for the head of the fraud, blood? Because my man said if you had a top attacking manager, it's game on. And you have to look at your squad man for man, bro. Like, these results are not really acceptable, bro.
They're
like,
not.
Really.
The forms are not acceptable. Hence why I'm so critical. But I'm not going to call for his head just yet because I still have faith that he can turn it around. I've seen things this season when we was in our good form. The only issue I have is that we haven't played well against a top team. That needs to be fixed very quickly. We got Man City this weekend, so that will be interesting. Last season we didn't have these problems. So
you got who?
We got Man City.
City, please. I need this, please. Please, City. Pep,
I was
please.
hoping the game would be called off, right? Because we had all of them cases going about, and I was like, you know what? That might just be God blessing us. You know what I mean? Get that game called off and going into a training camp for 2 weeks, but it sounds like the thing's going to go ahead. So God have mercy on our souls, and hopefully we can go into that game and do something, because I'm worried. I'm not going to lie, but we didn't have problems against big teams last year, and we had a worse squad. So I'm hoping that the second half of the season we can step up in that regard. When we was in good form, I saw good things. I saw, you know, our team outrun Leeds in terms of intensity and managed to outplay them at home. I saw, which was not an easy game. I think everybody knows how difficult it is to come up against Leeds. I've seen our team, you know, utilize. Again, I don't have an issue with the crossing. It's for me not making, you're not setting yourself up to get the goals from the crossing opportunities that you're putting.
Yeah,
we got good crossers of the ball. I've seen Liverpool take very much advantage of that tactic for over 2 years. When you're going to do it, though, do it to the best of your ability. And for me, we don't do that. We expect Tammy to score headers when he's not there yet. We expect him to, you know, even anticipate the ball when he's not there yet. We don't get numbers into the box. I saw Kante going up for a header against Arsenal in the box. These are the things that need to be corrected. So, do you know what I mean? I'm not. It sounds like it's a joke, but it literally, that is exactly what is happening. You know, when you got a man like Kante, bless his soul, going up for a header, you can't legislate for that. What the hell is that?
Got taken for a dog. He's out here getting nutmegged by the youngsters and shit. It kills me because I like Kante, but that just summed up how poor you, man, were. Like, there was one incident, I think Mount and Kante are right next to each other, and they've kicked it off from a throw. I don't know for the mindset of them Chelsea players right now based on that game.
I think they're feeling it, to be honest. I think they're feeling the pressure. So a lot of, you know, to be honest, last season they didn't have a lot of pressure on them. There was no real pressure on this Chelsea team to finish in the top 4. Everybody wrote them off and they managed to overachieve. I know the points tally was low, but everybody else was still poor. And, you know, we go over it again. The teams at the top ran away with it and everyone else was quite disappointed from a points tally perspective. But this season there's pressure. And I think a lot of the youngsters are probably feeling it for the first time in the first team. They got pressure on their ass. They have to perform. The new players come in, you know, Havertz, Ziyech at Ajax, Werner at Leipzig. They're coming from teams that, you have to win games, but it's not that deep if you don't
live or die by winning. Like,
you don't die by it. You don't die by the sword. Those guys are all main men for their teams, and they do carry their teams that they've come from. But if you lose, you can move on. No one's going to come for you. This is a different ball game. Do you know what I mean? This is Chelsea now, and after spending that kind of money, there's a lot of pressure. The reason why I don't go on the thing of completely killing off the manager is because, again, first of all, some of the players are not doing the bare basics. Seriously, not doing the bare basics. When a player hasn't got a first touch, I can't really blame manager for that. You're training every day. You got to fix that up. When I'm seeing players letting mans run off of them and whatnot, that's your own passion and desire to get to. If you don't care, for tracking your runners, there's only so much someone can do. But again, Lampard.
But then my argument to that is, if he's not doing it, if players aren't doing that, then you take them off.
Yeah, 100%. And also the manager has to take responsibility for the mentalities, because he's signed a lot of the players. This is becoming very quickly his team. And I've always said, once it is his team fully and there's no more dead wood, which, by the way, is not really an excuse, because we have a very deep squad. The underneath the soils of the team, that's dead wood. But the thing that you can see is his. Do you know what I mean? We've got a lot of new players. So
But it's like the Arteta, to cut you off, but it's like the Arteta thing. It's like, I get that he never signed all of these players, but I think obviously the situations are different. But it's a thing where, for me, I know a couple of these players, well, a lot of these players at Arsenal are not good enough. They were not signed by Arteta, but at the same time, he's been allowed to run the rule over them. Like, I see the similarities for us. Again, we know it's above board for Ozil, but he's been allowed to merge and get rid of Ozil. He's been allowed to bring Rebos in. And I think the same's been given to Lampard. He's been allowed to, not that Tomori's a world beater, but stuff like rubbing out Tomori, bringing in players. I don't buy the whole, I'm not saying it to get at you. I don't buy the whole, it's not his team business, because it's like with Lampard, like Arteta last season, when it was kind of working, man was saying, yo, he's a messiah. He's getting more of a tune out of these players and things like that. So it's like, looking at it, I think there should be more pressure on Lampard in that regards, because he's been allowed. Who has he had to keep? You know, he's apart from Kepa, who's on the bench, and you've got Mendy now. He hasn't had to keep anyone like that.
No, the pressure is certainly on him. I think that's why over the last God knows how many months he's really gone for playing Werner over and over again, because he's trying to prove that his signings are not flops. Do you know what I mean? I think there is a bit of politics in it, where if you sign a man for a lot of money, yeah, you need to prove to the owner that you didn't just waste his money, innit? It's like in any company, when you spend money like that on something, you got to prove yourself. But the reason why I give him time is because I'm seeing, and I think the reason why the board is giving him time as well, better point, because they're the ones that really make the decisions. They're seeing the league table. And we may not be in a good position, but my God, ain't nobody else doing no shit. Do you know what I mean? I'm seeing people drop points left, right, and center. And right now, once again, I think the other teams being shit is helping them out. It's helping us out. It's making us look better than we are.
Helping everyone.
It's not making us look as worse. When you see Liverpool dropping points back-to-back games, Tottenham losing, Liverpool spanked up 7-2, Man United drop points. Everybody dropping points. We ain't where we should be. If this is a normal season, and I don't think last season was normal either. If this is a normal season, we should be about 10th, if I'm being honest. But that's what our recent form would deserve. But yeah, we went unbeaten, but you know what I mean, there was a lot of draws in there as well. But for me, again, because everybody's so poor, ain't nobody give a shit right now about anybody, because you can't it's very hard to judge it, because everybody's so poor. You're looking at it like, yo, is this because it's just a freak season where no one's had a preseason, no one can get their act together? And now, like I said on another stream, you're getting a situation where Southampton's, Everton's, teams that are better coached with less quality are looking to sit level up with us, man, who have got less experienced coaches, not as tactically sound as these other men that have taken up lesser jobs, and the table's balancing out nicely for all of these teams, because you've got less skilled teams coached better, and you've got better quality players maybe not as coached better, and that you're not as coached as well, and then you've got yourself where the table's getting tighter. So I think really it's going to be ruthless at the end of the season, because I think man are just going to finish outside the top 4 by a couple of points. It's going to be real tight, and that's where people are just going to start getting sacked because you haven't meet requirements. But it's going to be ruthless out here, because I've never seen a table like this where everybody looks like they can't win a game or win back-to-back games. I don't know what the hell's going on.
This table's mad, but I don't think this is gonna last, bro. I reckon the table's gonna start to reveal itself, just like it did last season after lockdown, where Sheffield United started dropping down the table, and they're still dropping, you know, like that. Like, I just feel like we're gonna get to a certain point where the wrongs are gonna right themselves, and people are gonna start to be where they're supposed to be, bro. And if Chelsea don't turn things around sooner rather than later, bro, they're gonna start. It's free falling, bro. Because I'm looking at the table now. We're second. We go top if we win on Friday on goal difference, yeah. But the thing is, yeah, right now where we're sitting, we're 4 points from being 9th, blood.
That's what I'm saying.
That tells you how beautiful the league is, but also how calamitous it is. So because there's a lack of poor quality, you know, there's not much separating first from 10th. And I think that's where people need to understand that the Premier League is a great league. It's entertaining, but it's entertaining because there's a lot of money spent, and very rarely are the teams collectively, every team getting the best out. Like, you look at it, there's no coincidence that goals have gone up, clean sheets have gone down. That tells you defenders, like present day defenders, their concentration is out of the window. Defenders can't defend. People are just going for the jugular sort of thing. And that's where, for me, I get peed off with Arsenal, because Arsenal are not going to do anything serious this season. But I do have a problem when fans sit there and say, let's write off the season. Arsenal are not going to get top 4, not going to do anything major. But in terms of self-respect for yourself, there's around 20-odd games. God knows how many points. You can't just sit here and throw things away and say, woe is me, especially with what Matisse and you are saying about how calam the league is. You know, United haven't been their best, but they put a form together and they sit second. You know, you can do something in this Premier League. It's just about about putting a run of form together.
Yeah, man can get away with murder in this league this season. You know, I'm telling you, like, this is if you're looking for one season where someone can wheel their way up the graph without actually having to really coach a team, it's this season. Because I'm looking at it where if Chelsea can go on another run against the smaller teams like they did earlier in the season, they can put themselves where Man United are, and then things calm down a bit. But it doesn't mean their concerns go away. But it just means that in an objective standpoint, if you sit second, it's not a problem, is it? Do you know what I mean? But I think the points tally is going to be real low this season for top four again. And I think if Chelsea and Lampard just need to bounce back very quickly, get themselves to the training pitch. That's why I would love for the game to be called off personally. Get themselves back to the training pitch, sort themselves out, start getting
on the training pitch. Though. Is Lampard going to say? What is he going to say? Is he just going to get the beers in for the man them, or is he actually going to do some training?
Do you know what it is? Yeah, I think
probably sends Mount to Tesco's with a pen.
He's an intelligent man. I know he has tactics. My issue is that because he's very inexperienced, it's about being able to coach them tactics and get them across as quickly as possible.
What tactics is putting on Havertz instead of Giroud when you need a goal?
Again, and I'm not surprised he's making these mistakes, because when he came in, I already knew he wasn't at his peak as a manager, and that's why I thought him coming in now was too early. And I had this debate with many Chelsea fans before he came in. I said he's not coming in his prime, so he might suit us for now because we got a transfer ban. But for me, we're probably shafted him because he's not ready. But here he is. Do you know what I mean? And I think I'm not surprised he's making mistakes. I expect him to make many more than the average experienced manager, because he's learning along the way. It sounds mad that you're learning at Chelsea, but that really is the situation. And there's a lot of managers learning at top clubs at the moment. I see Pirlo gone Juventus. I don't even know if he's still there. What's going on? Do you know what I mean? I see mad big clubs picking up managers that ain't got no experience, and then it's learning along the way. It's like being on an apprenticeship. Do you know what I mean? And actually getting paid the full wage of the man.
But you know what it is, yeah? I think we're in a sticky time right now, because not only is the game of football evolving, and it has evolved, but also all the managers that were wavy are old now, blood. You know them ones there. So it's like because football's progressed. Now these old managers, most of them are outdated, bro. I think Carlo Ancelotti is one of the only managers, that's at a certain age, bro, and his thing still works, blood. You know, like his thing still works, bro. Do you know what I mean? He's standing the test of time. Jose's thing's played out now. Pep's thing's looking real paid out now, bro. Pep's tactics are looking real funny in the light right now, blood. You know that one's there.
With everyone, you adapt to survive, and them man there ain't adapted. And I think with football nowadays, I don't think you have to, manage for 10 years in League Two and step up. But I just think there's too much talking done to becoming a manager, and there's too much ideology as to, he was this sort of player, he was coached by this sort of man, so this is what we're gonna get. Clearly, football's changed. It's more of players, people are learning on the go, but that's what I think it is. And when I look at Lampard and Arteta, clearly the situations are different. They have more money than us, but I just feel when you try to do too much, you do nothing. When you have too many tools to work with, you don't get the best out of minimal tools. Like you look at a couple of them German teams, that's why you see Werner looking like a wealthy and things like that, because these teams have less money. They have to work with things and whatnot. We can pour money at things, or we can drop one man and do other things. Like at Arsenal, I think Arteta gets a lot of luxuries to hide behind. He was allowed, with Pepe, there was a bag of luxuries, as poor as Pepe's been. With Aubameyang, there was a bag of luxuries. There's too many pillars to hide behind. And it's like, man, too many football fans aren't able to consider all the variables, and they don't look at these things. Man, don't look at these things.
Yeah, facts. Matisse, would you risk keeping Lampard to the end of the season? Yeah, if you knew that you would definitely miss out on top four. That's what my man's saying, because it's
no.
It's Seki. I don't think any Chelsea fan would, bro. That's one thing about Chelsea fans. They don't play when it comes to Champions League and them things there. Them man are not always
they love it.
There are some Chelsea fans that seem to that would, but there's not many for me. And for me, top four is the expectation. We have to finish top four. So, it's very important that he and I think what I'm struggling with Chelsea fans that don't think that we have to finish top four is that Frank Lampard's own expectations would be higher than yours then, because this man came in at the start of the season saying we should have the mentality to challenge for the title. Now more quotes are coming out saying that we also have to be realistic. Top four is realistic, 100%. Team finished fourth last year. you finish fourth again. 100%. That's not progress, but it's stability. Do you know what I mean? We'll see if the points tally goes up or down and whatnot. And again, we can legislate for the mad season that it's been. And I can draw from that. It's not what I wanted, but I can come to terms with that. I can see that this is not a normal season. But dropping out of the top 4 is not progress. That means that you can attract lesser players in the summer, and that's a problem. And that's less money as well in your kitty as well for the transfer window and finances and all that
which
kind of
has
stuff.
a knock-on effect for your club. I never
100%.
understand fans that want man to lose for the sake of losing. I don't get it, because you're going to give yourself a headache. You know, at base level as a football fan, you want to win games. It's reductive.
Right.
It's like with
100%.
us Arsenal fans. Man want to lose so Arteta loses his job. I might not rate Arteta with what he's doing right now, but I want to win. I want to win football matches. It doesn't help us really and truly. It don't.
I've always said there needs to be a bare bone minimum of expectation and foundation of what your club doesn't go below, or there's a problem, right? And from the moment that you start accepting that you can drop here and drop there and drop here, you start to slowly decline as a football club.
Getting mad.
I've seen it happen to Liverpool. I've seen it happen to Arsenal now. I've seen it happen to Arsenal now, where they had a lot of longevity and loyalty towards Wenger. They allowed things to start ticking over and players to keep running down contract. Yeah, they kept making top 4, but there was clear signs that things were going to shit. They finished outside.
Finished ahead of us. That first year is when alarm bell should have rang and said, "Listen, we've winged it to top 4. Let's pattern up." But instead, we didn't do that. It's like Arsenal don't do these things by accident. We're choosing not to learn from mistakes. This is why we're in this position as a club, unfortunately.
Yeah, and then you finish outside top 4, and then you start to see more and more often you finish outside the top 4, and suddenly now you ain't been playing Champions League football for what, 3 years or some shit. That's not
3 years. Might even be 4. I don't even know. I don't even know what Champions League is anymore.
That can't happen to Chelsea, and it's not worth. I'm sorry, it's not worth the loyalty points. I know everybody will say, listen, I know he's Frank Lampard and whatnot, but Chelsea Football Club has to come first. And like I said, this is why I felt like it was too early for him to be here, because now you have to make these tough decisions. You don't want to make it against a legend. You don't want to do it. Do you know what I mean? You don't want to have your all-time goal scoring midfielder have to leave the club because he's not making the bare minimum requirements. But unfortunately, he will tell you himself that top 4 should be the bare minimum requirement. I don't think he's going to settle for outside top 4. I really don't.
Roman Abramovich is clipping, man. You can't spend 200 odd million and not show any real sign of progress. It don't matter what Lampard said. For me, I don't care about this legend thing. I hate it. Like, Arteta is not an Arsenal legend, but some Arsenal fans have some allegiances to him because of his ex-time. I just care about you doing the job. I don't give a crap what you did as a player. You know, if Thierry Henry, we know Thierry Henry is not a level manager. If he was the manager, of course, I'd feel he's a legend. But that's what you just said. It's like Lampard, the midfielder, and Lampard managing the club is two different things. And it's like, if for anyone that's looking at that, they've got their priorities in the wrong way and they're emotionally invested to the wrong things. And
a lot of men can't separate that, bro.
That's it. That's the
problem. Can't separate that, bro, and it's dangerous.
That's the problem. You set yourself up then.
No, I'm saying even at our football club, it's the same. A lot of men can't separate themselves from the player and the manager. You know them ones. Like my man survived hella storms here that no other man would have survived, bro. Not even the Jose Mourinho surviving storms like that, bro. And this is a guy with real pedigree that's won real shit in football, bro.
Literally.
You know them, man. So some of the storms that this brother has actually managed to survive is purely down to the backing that he's got in the boardroom, because he literally just he covers everything that the owners do, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? He's a yes man for them. Do you know what I mean? He's not going to talk too loud. He's not going to make too much fuss. He'll do what he's told. He's happy to be there, innit? Right. And ultimately, that's what's been surviving. That's what's been helping man survive, bro. And now we've got some good players, that are winning games for us. There's even a quote that someone posted in here earlier that Ollie said. He was like, yeah, we know we've got quality players that can change the game for us in a split second. That's cool, but we shouldn't be relying on that every match.
Exactly. It's not.
We need to go into games with a plan. We can't say, you know what, Bruno will do something today. He'll get us out. It's mad reactive, bro. Because what happens if these men don't? You understand what I'm saying? And that's why, like, bro, like it was so wavy, It was so wavy beating Wolves the way we beat Wolves, But the only thing is, I feel like we beat a lot of teams like that. You know them ones against the run and play, like, and that's why man likened it to boxing, bro. It's just like Deontay Wilder, bro. You can't keep giving man an 8-round head start and saying, "Yo, I'll knock him out in the ninth."
I'm gonna deck him. No,
I'm gonna knock him out in the ninth. Because what happens when you hit man with your hardest bang and he's still there?
And he's like, "What's that?" Exactly.
But then what, bro? Do you know what I mean? United have just been hitting man with one punch knockouts for the whole season. I ain't seen United systematically breaking teams down, bro. Like winning round by round. Do you know what I mean? I'm not seeing it. I'm just seeing bare knockout punches, bro, like against the run of play. I'm seeing man down 4-1 in rounds. 6th round, man's dropping him. You know the ones. But, bro, that's not sustainable.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Because when you come up against a man with a good defense, do you know what I'm saying, that you can't hit, then what happens, bro? Do you know what I mean? That's what I mean. Then you get whammed, bro. And that's why you have to have your fundamentals on deck, bro. You can't be relying on the haymaker. And we're always relying on haymakers to beat teams, bro. Like we beat Wolves because we had a more potent firepower than them. That's it. That's the only reason why we beat them. Do you know what I mean? And we can't keep beating teams like that. We can't, because that's why in the Champions League we'll struggle, bro.
Because the other teams are not on that. And you made a great point. Arsenal are a bit different in that you lot are just waiting on the mad bang. It just seems like we're going into a fight. We're just bobbing and weaving, and we don't want to throw a punch unless someone in the corner says, "Yo, bang him, bang him, bang him." Like against Chelsea. Chelsea is one of the first games in isolation, and United where we've actually started well. But that's where I get annoyed, because as Arsenal fans, we're used to that. We might beat a little Chelsea, a little United at home and whatnot, and that's the only positives from our season. I'm not interested in that, because that's 2 games over a 38-game period, and it's good for banter. It doesn't do too much. And even if we go with Arsenal to the Brighton game, Chelsea was one of the first games from start to finish. We was on it. We was on it for the first 10 minutes against Brighton. Then we allowed them back into the game. And these are the problems with a lot of football clubs. They'll play one good game in 1 week. You'll say, yeah, maybe they can turn the corner. And then the next week comes and it's like everything's gone out of the window. And as much as I get onto the manager, I have to wonder, are players of today's age not as they were last year, in that they were able to think for themselves, able to have some real personal pride? Because I only see it with the same number of players at Arsenal. It's only the Tierney's and the Sakas. I don't know what I'm getting with Xhaka and these man game in, game out.
Yeah, facts. And that's just what it is. What are you saying coming into this window, bro? Because I swear, does the window actually open in January still? Because I know the league started later, innit? So
open tomorrow, innit?
These doesn't have any money to spend in the first place because there's no gate receipts. So who's got money anyway?
It's a loan thing. Well, at least for Arsenal, it's a loan thing.
It's a loan thing or a swap thing, bro. I know. What manager was I seeing? What manager was it talking on after one of the games on, I think, Amazon? He was saying, yo, they're gonna be looking for like swaps and that. Now I think it was Allardyce, but Allardyce was saying that they'll be looking to get loans in. But he said the problem is when you get man on loan, it's like most of the time it's because they've fallen out with someone or they ain't been playing.
Just rebuild.
So the man that you can get on a little loan thing, they're not even ready to come straight in. They ain't even been playing.
Exactly. It's like with us with Isco. Man are saying, oh yeah, get Isco. On ability, I'll take Isco. But realistically, he hasn't played that much. He's going to be physically behind. He's going to need time. He's going to be like Bale. You're going to need them runner games and the training to get fit. We kind of need results now. Now, if that's all we can do in the market, that's all we can do. But
it was Steve Bruce that said it. Yeah. I remember that was yesterday. But it's true. You can't get man. Bruv, you said you're getting the reballs, blood. That's what you're getting. The man that ain't been playing that because they're out of favour at the club or they've been beefing the manager or whatever. But either way, even if you're training and you're not playing matches, you're not match fit, blood. So you're not going to come in and help me straight away. You're not, blood. You're just going to come and join the fucking dressing room banter, blood. Man don't need an extra man in the dressing room.
You don't need that. You actually need man to hit off like Bruno Fernandes, like in January, come into the club and make a difference. At least that's what I'm hoping for with Arsenal, which we're not going to get. Eriksen is not going to change our futures. Isco is not going to change our futures. That doesn't mean I don't think they're going to play well. It's just fans. I feel fans are a bit illogical because, you can't call to sign Eriksen and you've got Ozil. They're the same sort of man for one. You can't don't let your desperation twang you to not use your brain. Like if they did come and they hit off, fair play, but these men are not ready. Mendy, when you look beneath the surface, it's like Spurs with Bell. They were gassed to sign Bell. Is it any coincidence? He might hit off later on in the season, but is it any coincidence he struggled for game time, struggled to make an impact based on the amount of minutes he hasn't played and his physical condition? People just get hung up on the names and whatnot. I don't mind this goal, but it's going to be a costly operation. And that's before we even talk about, you know, Arsenal's mismanagement of finances. Everybody looks at their Pepe's, the Lacazettes as mismanagement of finances. They don't look at the expensive free transfers like Mkhitaryan, like Kolasinac, like Willian. You know, they don't look at the loan fees. We've spent how much money on 2 loan fees for Ceballos? We've spent how many on Denis Suarez? If we do it with Isco, if that can happen, because we've got Ceballos, is it going to be the more of the same? So it's a bit of a crazy one.
Yeah, 100%.
What do you think about Isco then? Are you yes or no for Isco?
I'm on it, Carl. Whoever we got, but at the end of the day, we ain't got no one in it. It's just Smith Rowe or Isco, really and truly. I'm not trying to see Joe Willett there. Ozil coming back isn't a thing, so we have to do it if possible. But I don't think it's even going to happen. I think it's too much of a risk, really.
Interesting.
What you meant saying for January? Surely you can't have any more money left, blood. Surely, blood.
We do, because to be honest, I mean, last financial year we spent what we earned in sales. If I'm being honest, you know, we come from back-to-back windows, not spending obviously one ban, and then January we didn't touch no one last season. So then we just spent it all in the summer, but really that was just money that we had recuperated through sales. So our net spend is not mad. So now we're kind of coming into a clean slate. I know it doesn't look like it because we look like we're buying the league at this point, but we're actually coming into it in a clean slate. Ish, so probably maybe 30-20 million up. So yeah, well, they're probably going to go again in the window. Do you know what I mean? They're going to back the man to the death of it. I think, you know, one thing I can guarantee is that they're not going to let him leave with any ifs or what ifs. They ain't going to be any of that. They're going to back this man 100%. So and I want them to, because then there's no excuse. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to have this what if he didn't get this and what if he had this and more time this year.
And buts and them things there.
Yeah, give him every single thing he needs, so then there's no excuses. That's how I've always wanted it, because then you can judge a man perfectly. I think the team, one thing I will say about his reign so far is that he's improved the playing squad 100%. We've taken a lot of older players that I haven't liked. They've definitely been stinking up the place in terms of, you know, their consistency and mentality and what they do in the dressing room. I think, you know, rubbing other managers out with Conte and Sarri and all these things. Yes, they've won us trophies, but I haven't always liked the little cults that we've got in our squad. It's well known. You know, we've always had little cults in our squad, whether the Brazilian and Spanish man, English players. You know, you do loads of time we speak about Terry, Lampard, Drogba, and all of these little dramas with managers coming in and whatnot. Now it seems to be the end of that, and we've now seemed to have a balanced team, a young team with quality players. And I know one thing I will say about Lampard is his targets, they suit other progressive managers that maybe are better than him. So I'm not worried about the long-term future of the club, because if you go and get, you know, if you go and get a Declan Rice, he's going to suit a lot of managers. You know, if you go and get, you know, we've been linked with so many players, man. It's be long to go through them, but he's going with good players. Do you know what I mean? He's not going with Williams.
There'll be a good base there for the next man to pick up, basically.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? He's only signing a few older players like Silva, but most of them are quite young. So he's going with technically good players that there's something there to work with. And I personally think Chelsea's next manager will potentially be German. If they do, because I think logically, if the club are going to sign these German players and they're going to hang their hopes on 2 major signings, they're going to want to see something out of that. So that's why I've always said, if Lampard doesn't get a tune out of these signings, Roman will find someone who will. He's not going to get rid of the players he just bought.
He'll get that PSG manager in it, bro.
He'll get someone in. He'll get some. You know what I mean? He'll get someone. Yeah, he'll make something happen where you get he wants to see the best out of them signings. He always does when he spends his money on them players. Same with Torres. He gave Torres bet. Torres was here for a long time. You know, people will say Torres flopped, but Torres, we gave Torres a lot of time because Roman just simply wanted to see the best of him. I think, you know, that was one of his favorite players in terms of strikers at that time. Same with Shevchenko, and he brought him here as well. So it's very important that Lampard in the second half of the season starts to show signs that he can get the best out of his signings, because Roman don't spend money and then sell them on and keep the same man. He doesn't. That just doesn't happen.
And Alaba, now he got linked with you lot. You lot seem quite confident you were getting him. Now he's being linked to Madrid. What are you saying? Do you still think that you'll get him?
I thought I was semi-confident that we could get him, but the talk seemed to have gone cold now. I don't know what Chelsea's plan is for the centre-back position, because they said that they wanted to get a centre-back in. But for me, the one thing that will put us behind in any race for any signing at the moment, even Rice or anyone, is the fact that we need to offload to bring in, because not even from a financial standpoint, but from a squad Too many bodies. Too many bodies. 5 centre backs, three left backs. Way too many centre midfielders. There's too many bodies. So even if they want these players, they ain't going to be able to get them and negotiate them for quickly because they need to get players out. Salaries are sitting there. There's players sitting on, 100, 200K that we ain't even using. They are not going to bring in any more players for me until they get rid of them. You got Kepa sitting on big money. You got Jorginho, whose agent's talking about him moving on big money. He doesn't really get into the team often enough for his name not to be directing for leaving as well. Doesn't really suit Lampard either. You got 5 centre backs. One's got to go out on loan minimum. 3 left backs, same situation. So there's offload. For me, January is an offload thing first, and then after that, we'll see what happens.
Flipping it, bro. Man saying that Alaba wants 350. Nah, it's a mad thing. It's a mad thing. You know that it's a mad thing, bro.
To be fair, Callum's got 180K. I'd be asking for that as well, man. Them wage structures at Chelsea are fucked. I would be asking for that too. I can't cap.
I think Callum's on 120, but then bonuses from what I remember.
Hey, man. Either way, he's overpaid, but he went on nothing when he came to the Emirates, big man.
I hear you. And so, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Realistically, Arsenal are gonna do though, DG. What do you think?
Well, what I would like to do is see Saliba loaned out. Something done over Reece Nelson in terms of being loaned out, similar to what Matisse has been saying. Arteta's more or less said indirectly, we've got to sell before we can buy. We're not like Chelsea in that our players that we actually are up for sale are shit. Like the other players can get moves. Mustafi, I hear Barcelona are smoking crack if they take him. Apparently Socrates is linked with Napoli. Let's get that one done. Kolasinac seems on his way back to Schalke. So what I think the club are doing, we're looking to get man out permanently on loan before we move, and my club is broke, so we're probably looking at it, that 3 million loan fee for Kolasinac and maybe a similar one for Saliba. That's about 5 million that could be put on the next man's loan fee and things like that. So I hope we sign a creative man, because Arteta and Edu has been very vocal about that. The minute you couldn't sign one last summer, the work should have been done. And for me, what concerns me about Arsenal, I know there's been a lot of changes, and in hindsight, I'm starting to think when you've got a new manager, you've got a new guy in Edu, you've got a new contract man, maybe that set us up to fail. But at the same time, I've had a real big problem seeing the profile of players we're going for, because when I see Isco, when I see Eriksen, I find that lazy. To me, if you're a club that's broke, we couldn't, like, if us 3 clubs went for a player, we can't go toe-to-toe with you, man. So we might as well scrap that. So why are we not bringing up 10 targets where you say, all right, cool, you've got Aura and these top guys, you've got this guy in the 2nd division in Brazil, you got my man in, I don't know, Scotland, but we've done our due diligence as to how he's going to be a player for us and develop. I don't see what we're trying to do. I see when you play Smith Rowe, Martinelli and Saka, I can say, all right, cool, you're on the young player / Lenting, but then you're bringing in Williams and you're bringing in expensive free transfers. And I don't mind the whole, I know a lot of Arsenal fans are getting vexed that we're getting into bed with agents and things. I don't mind being cool with Kaya Jurickin, but it's like, if you ain't got money, you're not going to sign these level players. You're just going to sign these rebos. Look at Wolves. They're kind of punching because they're on serious business. We're not. So nothing's happening in January.
It's true. They got, what's his name? It's Jose's agent, innit? That's working.
That Mendes brother.
That's what I'm saying. So it's all right being cool with agents, but be cool with the right guys, blood, and also be willing to pay the fees. Literally.
You can't talk to me about signing Coutinho if you ain't got Coutinho bread. That's why you have to hold a Willian and you have to hold like, come on. Like, it's ridiculous, bro.
Facts, bro. What are you saying about Tuchel before we wrap up? Like, he's been linked with both of your clubs and even mine, blood.
I swear.
Yeah.
I'd be open to it. If I had tomorrow, I'd entertain.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I'd entertain.
Because I'm not vouching for my manager to leave. For me, I'm not really entertaining any new manager yet until I'm out of that, until I'm in that headspace. But what I can say about him is that I don't watch PSG on a regular. I know what he's won, and I know what he's done with squads in terms of development, and he's ticking a lot of boxes there. But because I don't watch him on a weekly basis, I don't know how his team plays, and I don't know if it looked good from the surface, it always does. But then when you watch a team week in, week out, then you get to know what's going on. And for me, the only person to replace Frank that I would have said 100%, no problems, no fears, no worries, no queries, no questions, would have been Pochettino, because I've seen him at Southampton. Rants has mentioned it many times as well. Seen him at Southampton, seen him at Tottenham, seen what he can do with little money, which we don't have a problem with, but at some time we may have a problem with, because if we keep splashing like this, do you know what I mean? We may have to suck it up for a window.
You have to get a tune out of these players. Simple as that.
He knows how to work with what he's got, and he knows how to develop young players, and he knows how to take a team from mid-table to Europa League, relegation to Europa League football, and from Europa League football to a Champions League final. So I've seen him do it, and I've seen him do it on a regular basis, and I've seen that he's tactically flexible as well. So for me, he ticks every single box, and he's also main thing, Premier League proven. So he's ticking all the boxes, and that's the only man where I can say, cool, he can come in and I've got no problems. The rest of at the moment, the rest of them, I can't comment because I'm not watching them week in, week out. And I've done this mistake before when I don't watch someone week in, week out, and I think I know them and I don't. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. You see them in a cup tournament or a cup competition and think, yo, I like this. But bruv, from what I've seen of Tuchel, bro, like, I don't like his style of play, bro. They say he's an attacking manager, yeah, but I don't see patterns when I watch him. I don't see. It looks like Neymar and Inshallah blood at PSG blood. If Neymar's not fit, bro, that's what it looks like, bro. I see Neymar picking up the ball off the goalie and that, like,
just making something happen.
Just making stuff happen, bro. That's not good enough, bro. At the top level, do you know what I mean? No matter how good you are, you're meant to have a system, and you're meant to say, you know what, Neymar. Hold this, blood. I'm gonna need you to be here. You're gonna need to do this. You're gonna need to do that. Man can't just be doing whatever he wants. And if he is, everyone else has to be so well drilled that it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? But my problem with the whole thing is, it's like everyone's just doing what they want, bruv. That's what it looks like.
Lich.
Know what I mean? So it looks like he's relying on individuals, blood. It looks, I don't know, blood.
It's important to add that I know PSG made the final, but they did have the easier route. Do you know what I mean? And also on top of that as well, it's not the first time that I've heard people say, hey, PSG, what's going on with your team? You know, a lot of people are now crediting PSG. I remember not so long ago, people were talking shit about PSG. No structure, no organization, they're balanced as fuck. Do you know what I mean? I've heard it all before. They're imbalanced, they ain't got nothing, no structure to them. They're a bunch of individuals that can't play together, and they're just relying on their front three to work magic. So what's the defensive structure at PSG? What's the midfield structure? A lot of people that are saying they want Tuchel, I'm not questioning if he's good or how good he is, because I don't know. Like I said, tell me how is he defensively? Is he strong? I want to know these things.
I think he overcomplicates things. That's one thing. I would only be interested in entertaining it if Arteta left tomorrow, because I'm a big fan of, you need a plan. I'm not saying that as a justification to keep a manager, but it's like, you sack a man, then what? You know, you need a plan. You don't just wake up. And I think with Tuchel, he overcomplicates things. I think his signings have been a bit meaty. They haven't been bad players, but they're just, when you sign a bunch of squad players and meaty players, it makes you look meaty. That's just it for me. I don't know. I again, anyone would find it difficult to deal with egos and things like that. But I feel Dortmund, I remember in the when Aubameyang was signing for us, there was a bust up. PSG, again, anyone would fail probably with them egos. But again, it's down to you being smart and how you realize and pick your battles. You might not ever be able to win the battle of the dressing room with Neymar and whatnot, but you might be able to get Neymar on your side. You know, it sounds stupid, but when I used to coach little kids, the one bad breed I used to make him feel important. I used to make him be the guy who regulates other people. Then you've got him on side. I'm not too sure how smart Tuchel is in that regards of man management. In fact, not even man management, people management. Because you, as a manager today, I would say that's arguably more important than your tactics. Because if you can't get them on side, it's a myth. It's like Klopp has all these tactics. If he didn't get people to buy into what he wants, they're not going to implement it. So it's all a myth. So I'm not too sure for any of these things, but he looks the part. You know, he looks when he's touching his chin and overcomplicating things. But I don't know for him, man. I don't know, bro. He looks the part.
Nah, bro, you're spot on, bro. Like when I watch man play, like, bro, when I watch man coach and that, like this brother said, that he can't implement his style of play because of Neymar and Mbappe. That would make complete sense, bro. Because from what I've seen of man, it's like he can't do it, innit? And certain managers, if they can't do the pragmatic thing with players, innit? Like not every manager is gonna be a Carlo Ancelotti, innit? Like Carlo can do anything with any set of players, and he can find and adapt a system to work with these men. If he's just the kind of manager that he has one system, and he needs specific players to play that system, and if he doesn't have them, then boom, maybe he might do better at a club like Chelsea where there isn't a superstar like an Mbappe or a Neymar. Maybe he will. Same as at Arsenal. We don't know. But all I know is what I've seen, from this flipping manager, bro, the football looks flipping rubbish. It's tedious, bro.
Yeah, that's the best way of putting it. It's tedious, it's stale, it's overcomplicated. Like football's a simple game. Tuchel looks like one of them guys. He just overloads people with information. I don't know that. That's just what I see as a fan. And I don't think footballers of today's day and age, they're not as smart as that. That's why we praise Conte and Pep and Klopp and all these men when they're shouting on the sidelines and things. It's because players don't concentrate. Players don't take responsibility enough. Players are unable to do such. You know, we live in a world where we talk about ball ability and ball playing before in a defender before we talk about can he head, can he mark properly, can he actually defend. Football crazy, and I just feel with managers it's about wearing tight tracksuits and having being levels. It's crazy, fam. It's mad.
100. Hey, you man, smash that like button. 1.6 in here. Do you know what I'm saying? Lit show for you, man. I got my show with Gabby Obonlo next, bro. We're gonna build up the Aston Villa game still. Do you get me? So yeah, me and Gabby are gonna be on shortly. Hold on a second. He's just saying that the link's not open in 1 second. But yeah, so me and Gabby are gonna be live literally straight after this, man. So yeah, it's one of them ones where, boy, just stay close, blood. You get me? Stay close to the computer. Obviously, I told you, man, before, with YouTube have a certain number of notifications they send out. Do you know what I mean? Every day. So because you man have been in here, you're probably not gonna get a notification for this, innit? So just, bruv, stay locked in, bruv. Man are coming straight back. Make sure you follow the man them. You get me? Click the link in the title. Make sure you follow both of their channels. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's gonna be loads of content. Are you both playing tomorrow? Or Arsenal playing on Saturday?
We're on Saturday still against West Brom away, so I'll probably build up the game tomorrow.
Yeah, we're at the weekend as well, I believe, on against Man City. I'm not sure on the day yet, actually, because
probably a Sunday, isn't it?
Surely it's a Sunday game. Game looking like it was going to get called off. Now it's back on again.
Yeah.
So it's a madness. But preview will be going out. Preview will be going out same way tomorrow. We're going to do a stream now as well, talking about Frank Lampard and why we should give him patience.
I'm going to watch that and laugh, man. Can't lie.
I hear that, boy. So, boy, we're here, innit? So look out. Make sure you follow the man, then, bro. Follow their channels. Subscribe to their channels. Keep an eye on the content. Do you know what I mean? We'll be back. Same place, same time every week. You already know the thing. And yeah, boy, New Year's last show with the New Year. So we big up you lot. Do you know what I mean? Have a good New Year's and that. And then next year we got it. You know that bigger and better, fam. You know what I'm saying? You man have seen the work rate. You man have seen the shows. I took half the year off, blood. You get me? So this year, you know what I mean? This year coming is gonna be nuts, bro. Yeah. So big up everyone inside. And yeah, bro, I'll be right back.